Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you are doing well. We are here with our little combined team review and trade targets for this week. So if you are keen for another buy round to come and go, make sure you smash the thumbs up on this video. But let's get straight into the review. As you can see, a round score of 2008 with a round ranking of 16,621, putting us back a good couple hundred spots. Not the end of the world this week. A few disappointing scores, but it's interesting because I had 1, 2, 3, so that's 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. No, okay, I didn't have Dacos. So from 21 scorers, we dropped off a 40 from Angus Clark. We dropped off a 61, and then we would have dropped off an 81 as well. Oh, 78. So we would have had 81s. Oh, sorry, and then 71 from Cooper Lord. So the 78 stays in the score. So Clark, Lord, and Ashcroft. Oh, no, and the 50. What am I talking about? So we would have kept Cooper Lord, Clark, Bont, and Will Ashcroft scores would have been the ones that dropped off for us. End of the day, we have a 71, an 83, an 81, an 81, and a 78. That's probably where we fell a little bit short this week. Again, you can see by the scoring in defence, Whitfield finally back to his half-back role and back accumulating over 20 kicks, which is brilliant. I think the role's hopefully going to be there. 5 marks, again, was in on the kick-ins, so not going to get the marks from the kick-in. So Lockie Ash might actually be a really good get because if Whitfield takes the kick-ins, he's likely kicking it to Ash. Nazaya went bang Thursday night as well. 9 marks, what's that, 31 touches. Just a great football player. Kicked the goal as well. Love watching him play. Connor Rosie, 117, continues to get it done. Tom McCarthy went early on him. Locked him in even before I knew if he was the sub or not. It was just I needed the downgrade. So our trades last week were Riley Bice. That doesn't sound right. Tom McCarthy in. Oh, yeah, I don't know. That can't be right because I definitely got rid of Riley Bice for Bont. Oh, no, I'm thinking of Matt Roberts. Sorry, I did get rid of Riley Bice because he was on the bye. I went Levi Ashcroft out for Archer May, Lucas Campriali out for McCarthy, and Riley Bice out for Matty Kennedy. So I feel like those are 3 tick moves. Matty Kennedy we locked in Thursday night. Saved it with a 107. Goes Richmond, Sydney North in the next couple, which I'm very, very happy about. The midfield probably let us down the most this week. Ollie Wines, 83. Got caught on the bench early in the first quarter. Pretty much only played half the first quarter after scoring pretty well to start the match for. So 65% time on ground. I reckon he would have been up around the 70-ish mark had that not had happened. And if he'd been on the ground, I reckon he would have scraped himself to a mid-90s score, and I probably would have been pretty happy with that. So through the buys, I'm happy to hold on to an Ollie Wines. Marcus Bontempelli, very disappointing, 91 and a 50. Has Windy coming up this week. Has Richmond coming up this week. And I am very, very hopeful that he can have a monster game, kick a few goals, and really get back on track because we need Bont up and firing for us. Adam Chera just continues to plot along. After this little run here where he struggled for 3 weeks, he's just gone straight back to being that third main midfielder. And now with no Sam Walsh, I think he is locked in to be a main midfielder there with a Paddy Cripps and a George Hewitt. Will Ashcroft is someone we'll talk about probably getting rid of after this week, and we'll probably look to throw him back as well. I've got so many forwards that I can roll into the midfield, and same with defenders, but depending on who we go with, we might move that Will Ashcroft piece around. Jordan Dawson on the bye this week, 97, not the end of the world for Jordan Dawson. He does go up and down a little bit. Love this run coming out of the bye, though, with Richmond, Melbourne, Bulldogs, and the Suns. That month is fantastic. He goes and gets Port, Hawthorn, West Coast, Collingwood, and North to finish the year off. So very happy with the Jordan Dawson. Andy Brayshaw doing Andy Brayshaw type things. Zach Johnson, a very good 2 weeks owning him. Very happy to have him long term. And off the bye this week, we get a Nick Dacos and a Ned Long back into our midfield. So our midfield depth was tested this week. So very nice to get a few better players in that midfield mix for us. It allows us to move, hopefully a Cooper Lord around. But I think our forward line is going to be pretty well set. Any big concerns? I mean, Caleb Daniel, conditions didn't really suit. Still good time on ground with another 4 marks. So, again, Carlton, Hawthorn, Bulldogs, Melbourne, I think he's going to be more than fine. Isaac Rankin, we'll talk about later. Christian Petrarca, disappointing. The disposals just weren't there, which were interesting. He was heavily tagged, though, so Miles Bergman did the job on him. Bailey Smith had the VC on him for a long time, panicked with the potential injury and the fitness test. Brian Myers, 3 weeks of owning him has been fantastic. 137, 108, 112. Very happy there. And that's pretty much the side. Not a whole lot on the bench. So before we get into my trades for this week, let's go into the stats center and let's go coach's choice in. The most traded in player this week is Tom McCarthy. Now, there's 2 areas that I sit with this move. One, I understand why people are locking him in now, because it might be that you need to make the downgrade this week and you don't want to wait for next week because you've got other problems in your team. I can understand that. I'm in the camp of, if you can wait on Tom McCarthy for a week, that's what I would be doing. I'd be trying to wait for next week just in case he pings something at training this week or something happens. Then you don't want to lock that trade in. But I already brought him in, so I'm happy enough with that. Jason Horne-Francis, I fully understand why people are wanting to bring him in straight away. He had 2 CBAs this week against Melbourne. He's got a break even of 106. So even if he plays well, he's not going to go up too much in price. I really like this Jason Horne-Francis move next week for me. And he could potentially be a Will Ashcroft replacement that makes me 100k. So I'm very much looking at Hornet next week, who then goes Carlton, Brisbane, West Coast. I don't love Brisbane, but they won't tag. I can't see Chincotta going with Hornet because he would just take him forward. Then he gets West Coast, Hawthorn, Adelaide, Geelong, Fremantle, Carlton again, and then Gold Coast. So the run home's good for Port. Zach Johnson, it's do or die this week. Minus 33 break even. Plays Fremantle at Optus this week. I think if you're going to bring him in as a downgrade, you need to do it now. But I don't even know who you're really going to from a Zach Johnson anymore. I think he's too highly priced to go from another rookie. So if you're looking at him, he is a fantastic option playing across half back. But I'd want to be looking to see what is going on with Zach Reid. Harry Roaston has big pedigree in the VFL and did a job on Lockie Neal on the weekend. Had 20-odd CBAs, was third in line at GWS. Toby Green's out for a while. Canilio won't come straight back into that midfield. Brent Daniels is out for a little bit. I think with Gold Coast being one of the better midfields to play against, and hopefully post-bye he's still in there for West Coast, I think Rouston is a really good option. Sam Darcy comes back with a bang, 115, 9 marks, 3 goals. I'm not a huge fan of key forwards, but if all you can afford is a Darcy, I'm not a huge against that. I'm not hugely against, that's what I should be saying. Callum Mills, I love this move. I don't particularly love the fact that he's been in and out for the last couple of years, but Sydney really struggling. They're getting Goulden back. I think he'll settle back to half back, and I think Riley Bice might be the one that comes out. The good thing was he had 85% time on ground against Richmond, had the 9 marks. Again, this is going to be an interesting game this week against Port Adelaide. I don't think he's just going to get the chippy chip marks around the back, but I think from like kick-ins, he might be that first hit-up option a Blakey looks for. So I think the marks will be there if he's playing at half-back. If he's playing midfield, then so be it. But I think Mills at his price is a very, very good option. Caleb Sarong. I actually really like Caleb Sarong as an option. You got to be wary of tags, and he's not typically someone that goes and gets 10 tackles, which is why the score was a 140. You can see the last 2 games, though, there has been an emphasis on him tackling more, and I'm actually starting to see the tackle numbers here, 8-4, 3-4, 8-10. So that's probably what's aiding with his disposals to have a really big impact around the footy. So if he can keep bringing that energy, then he's going to be a fantastic option. He wasn't priced massively away from that so long ago. If I go back here, he's gone up, 90k in the last 3 weeks. So he was right down in the high 800s only 3 weeks ago. So that's a little bit disappointing to miss Sarong and the run that they had. I couldn't go there because I had Andy Brayshaw. Like, you needed to pretty much go there during this run here where he's gone 3, 4, 8, 10 tackles and really started to tick over. He's gone 108, 97, 111 and 146. Matty Kennedy at 1.1 million practically. If he's your last upgrade in the forward line, sorry, I really like Matty Kennedy. That's why I brought him in last week. I think moving forward, the run's really, really soft for the doggies as well. They go and play, West Coast, North Melbourne, Richmond, Sydney, Essendon. They've just got such a good run and so much of it at Marvel. I just think he's a great option. Colby McKercher, again, same to Caleb Daniel. Conditions didn't really suit those halfbacks. Marks were down again for Colby, but had 27 touches. I just think he's going to be the guy now off halfback with Caleb Daniel, and I just think, we're going to see this a lot more throughout the season. I think we're going to see some more drier games as well. If we go fixtures, he goes MCG, UTAS, Marvel, MCG, SCG, and then gets a really good run at Marvel from rounds 20 to 24. He only plays Manuka and Ninja in there as well. I think Colby or Mills are fantastic options in the defence. Manny Liddy, I really liked his game, what he brought on the weekend. 71% time on ground was really good to see, but he is playing that half-forward role with a 13 break-even. I think you can probably have a bit of a watch to see whether he sticks for the next couple of weeks or not. There was no Travis Boak in the side. If we start winning games and Kenny goes, all right, we're a chance for finals, and I see Boak coming in to play that role over a Liddy. Archer May, if you don't own him, I reckon he's worth a watch this week before the bye, and then if you need a forward downgrade, I'd be doing it for Gold Coast. I don't think you're going to miss too much with him. Andy Brayshaw, Josh Dacos, Bailey Dale, Grundy, Jackson. So you can see everyone's kind of making one or two downgrades, and then these are the kind of the options for the upgrades. If I was to pick anyone, I think Bailey Dale is now probably too expensive at that million mark. I think Harry Sheezel's a better option. I don't mind Jack McRae. What did he score? 82. I'd want to see a game from him first, but I think for 100k less, you can go with a Horn Francis. Wanganeen Millerer up at that 1.1 million. I mean, people are still buying him. He's a fantastic player. Luke Jackson. I don't know where I sit with the Jackson. I think if you're buying him as a forward, as like an F5 and F4, I think he's a really good option. I think if he can average 95 to 100 for the rest of the season, pinch hitting as a midfielder, as a ruckman, like he still had 17 hitouts against North Melbourne as the second ruck, kicked 2 goals, had 15 touches. Like, he could be a really unique sort of unicorn pick where he does a bit of everything, and then that just equates to him getting 90 to 95, because if you can add 20 hitouts a week, that's just 20 points that every other forward's not getting that he can get. So it's not out of a realm of a possibility that I look for a Luke Jackson and move one of those mids, or one of those forward mids into my midfield to, replace a Will Ashcroft, because Luke Jackson has the ceiling, but he also has a better floor than Will Ashcroft too. So something to consider. Alexander Taru is an interesting name. He's had that suspension. He's a intercepting defender for St Kilda. I wouldn't launch, because it wouldn't surprise me if Ross does start him with the vest, but I think he could be a really good option for us, coming into this Fremantle, Hawthorn, Sydney run as well. So definitely someone to watch. Harry Sheezel, someone I like at 1.04. I think I like him better than Bailey Dale. I think he's a little bit cheaper. He's playing that mid-time now as well. He's had 9 marks, 6 tackles, kicked a goal. I think we're really going to see Harry Sheezel start to pop off, and he's someone my eyes on, for a Will Ashcroft potentially next week as well. So whether I go Horner or I go Sheezel are probably the two I'm looking at. Max Holmes, similar, up at that 1.05. I wish I went there. I went there in Supercoach, but I didn't do it in AFL Fantasy. So they are the main people that are being brought in. If we're looking at the trade out targets, we're looking at Levi Ashcroft. I think definitely time to sell. Break even of 113. Probably going to be in the vest this week, so you can get rid of him. Isaac Rankin, I think, can probably go on his buy. It's frustrating because he goes Richmond, Melbourne, but the ceiling's just not there. The CBAs aren't there. And I just think Isaac's not offering enough when there are, Luke Jacksons and Jason Horne-Francis's who are definitely going to have better roles. Boxall, if you need to cash him out, 350, you can make a nice 100k or so there. Petrarca's someone I probably wouldn't be selling. I know the last couple of weeks have been a bit underwhelming, but I think post-buy, if Melbourne want to make a run at finals, he needs to be playing more CBA midfield versus being forward. Max Gawn, I would like this move if you were making 250k, almost 300k, to going from or to English or Marshall. I don't think we're making enough money out of the downgrade for Gawn to make this a viable move. So I'm keeping Max this week because I've had him all season and have been very, very happy owning Max. Everyone's talking about the run. Yes, the next 3 after the bye are tough, but Max is the number 1 ruck in the league. But then he goes into a real soft run up until sort of Meek and Cameron at the end of the season. So I would be personally keeping Gawn. I think there's other ways to make the same, 150k that we are making. Riley Hardiman, definitely sell. I think with Colby going back there, that's killed the role. Angus Clark, I'm selling. Again, I don't see him scoring too much more than 31. I think that wing role's just not giving him the outlet that we need from him. The time on ground is really good, but he's just not getting his hands on the footy, which is a little bit disappointing. Will Ashcroft is someone I'm actually considering selling this week. But it means that I'm keeping an Isaac Rankin, so I feel like I don't gain a lot, but then I gain keeping Rankin next week. So there is a world where I don't sell Rankin this week and I sell Ashcroft, but then it means I'm a player down. So I'm in a bit of an interesting position where I can play around with that move. So I'm not sold because I think I'd rather have Isaac Rankin as my F6 than Will Ashcroft as my M5 or M6. So that's the decision I'm making this week. If I did go Will Ashcroft out, I'm not quite sure what the trade option looks like. So I might play around with that with you guys here. But other than that, pretty simple. Dunkley, Lohman, again, they're buy guys for next week that the people are getting off of, which makes sense to me. So Kai Lohman is someone I'll be getting off next week. And then the rest, I wouldn't be getting rid of Jordan Dawson. I wouldn't be getting rid of Jai Newcomb. Oh, you probably could get rid of Jai Newcomb, to be fair. What's he been scoring? He has been in Struggle Town, so I probably would get rid of Jai Newcomb if I owned him. But let's go look at my side. So what I've settled on is Harry Roston in for Cooper Simpson, Angus Clark out for Colby McKercher, and I've gone Rankin out for Callum Mills. So I don't think me really moving... I could move Will Ashcroft this week. So if I was to go Tom McCarthy back there for Mills... And if I reverse that trade, it leaves me with 47k in the bank. Then I could actually just do this, and I could go Zach Johnson there. And what could I turn Will Ashcroft into? I think I want Colby and I want Roaston. It leaves me with 966k to go and get somebody at the moment, which is, could be any position. So it could allow me to go and get a Luke Jackson over a Callum Mills, which I actually like that move a lot better, to be fair, especially this week with the Essendon matchup where he could absolutely dominate their midfield and dominate their rucks. Again, we've got, a Doherty who I don't love, to be perfectly honest. This is just me looking at the last 3 average as well. I think I'm a bit short on the upgrade I want, but if I turn Rouston into, say, Manny Liddy just for actually the sake of having someone play next week as well, it doesn't give me heaps more to play with. But now if we go Ashcroft, if I can get me to that million mark, it gets me to 977. I mean, I could go and get a George Hewitt. So I feel like if you offered me George Hewitt versus Callum Mills, I probably would take George Hewitt at averaged at 91. Oh, what have I just done there? Wait a minute. Sorry, guys. Averaging 91, where his average on the season is... I don't know where it says it. Where's his average? He's averaging 101. So he's priced 10 points under the average. There's no Sam Walsh. He did have a lot of handballs last week, but he is a tackle machine. It could actually be something that I do that instead of... it means I just have to take the -1 in the defence, though, because I'd have McCarthy there and I wouldn't be able to make a move. I don't think I love any of the defenders that I can afford, but if I go all players, there is a Jack McRae there. Obviously, I could get to Zach Butters. If you told me that I could get Zach Butters in for Will Ashcroft, I probably would do it, to be fair. And he's only priced at 921, so that might not be the worst option. I could go and get Caleb Sarong as well. I'm a bit worried about potential tags there. I think Zach Butters is just a better option, and Butters is a lot cheaper. There are options, and I think I'm actually leaning towards not going a Callum Mills because I wouldn't mind actually seeing it a little bit more. So that's through the averages. If we go the last 3 average, Caleb Sarong definitely leads that as well, but I might have to actually play the price game here and look potentially at a Zach Butters. I think I might actually lock in. So 9.17 for George Hewitt or 9.21 for Zach Butters. He's had the hard tag game. I think I'm actually going to lock that one in. And then we go and potentially move. So where is Isaac Rankin? Isaac Rankin's sitting on my midfield bench because Manny Liddy's playing. So that's fine. Cooper Lord's in the team. May's in the team. So everyone's playing there. Zach Butters just probably comes in for Zach Johnson. And then if Zach Johnson does pop a nice score, we probably just take that score and we move Isaac Rankin in there. So I'll be playing potentially with 20 this week because I've got no Max Gawn and then Tom McCarthy now is on my ground. But I think I'd rather have Butters as a midfield option rather than Callum Mills and then having 21. So let me know in the comments what you guys would do in my position. Long term, we'd obviously have Isaac Rankin in there at F6 almost now. What's he? F5. Isaac Rankin. We have Smith, Kennedy, Petrarca, Rankin, Daniel Myers. We'd obviously have Jordan Dawson in that midfield to go with Dacos, Bont, Long, Chera, Dawson, Brayshaw, Wines, Butters, Colby, and Tom McCarthy, who I'm actually happy to roll with at D6 long term. So that's what my side's looking like post buys. Obviously with 3 moves next week, 56k in the bank. Kai Lohman down to a cheap option, frees up a couple 100k. Cooper Lord then up as well to a potential Jason Horne-Francis. We're not going to be that far away. We're only going to be 150 odd k away, and then Hornet can probably go into this midfield, and then we can move a Wines or a Long next week as well. So we are in a very, very good position. So if you've enjoyed the video, make sure you smash a thumbs up on this video. Make sure you get in the comments and tell me what you do if you're in my position. Also get your trade dilemmas in the comments below, and I'll see you tomorrow night for a Q&A video as well, and I'll see you there tomorrow night.